When I think about mindset, and we kind of get into this idea of mindset mastery, I've been talking about this quite a bit, even from before it all got started. Everything this game is going to be about mindset. And here's the reason why. Everything that we thought as normal has just become abnormal. And regardless of how good you believe that you are, our subconscious is always being fed by the triggers and the filters in our life. And so if I am used to a normal order of operations being in place with a physical location, a physical experience, a mental check-in, a process, all of that now has kind of derailed a little bit. And so it really is going to be important for us to dig into the mindset side of things at a much higher level, okay? I want to talk about specifically what I believe 5 things that we can do to dig into mindset and master all of it, okay? So I'm going to write these things down. I've actually created a quick little graphic. You could save it to your phone. You can put it in front of you, something to help you remember what we talk about today. And I'm going to make a couple of notes as we get going. So one of the very first things that I will tell you is to wake up and get up, okay? Wake up and get up. Many of us are getting into a mode where we now have extra time because we've moved our businesses into our home. And if you haven't yet, there's a chance that you will. So just be cognizant of that. But this still applies whether or not you are in a new mode of habit or whether you're still waking up to the same things every single day. We still have challenges mastering this one thing. Think about how often you oversleep or sleep in or hit snooze. I've seen people who have posted their alarms where they've got 10 alarms set to be able to wake up after the very first alarm goes off. You need to be able to wake up and get up. One, it gives you your first victory of the day, right? I was able to conquer myself, my own downfalls in life, which is I love to sleep and I love to snuggle up and we love it. It gives us our first victory because we've conquered it. We've conquered our mind. Our mind is a very, very, very strong weapon in many, 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 many ways. And so now we got the opportunity to be able to capitalize on a win. So you got to wake up and get up. The extra time is a gift. And so I even had a conversation the other day with somebody who was saying, well, I used to get up at 5 a.m. every day to work out. Now I get an hour extra of sleep. I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? We all want a little bit more time in the things that we do. So why not go ahead and stay in the rhythm of waking up and getting into a new rhythm of having a little bit of extra time. I'm loving the extra little bit of time that I have. I was already an early riser, but the 30 to 45 minutes that I was doing travel time to get to an office or the preparation to get to an office has now been a gift into my world so that then I can slow down and I can concentrate on myself. It's become a really amazing gift that I wasn't expecting. One of the things that I like in this space, so the idea of waking up and getting up, we need a trigger to help us. I talk about triggers a lot. If you read the book Atomic Habit, you'll understand what I mean when I start to talk about triggers. There are things that we can do to help us move towards a new habit that we want. Waking up and getting up, right? Don't just get up and get on your phone. Get out of bed. That's why get up is in there. Yeah, you're going to wake up and get out of bed. Mel Robbins, who's somebody who I actually discovered her by accident. I happened to go to like a conference for an oil and gas thing after I was out of oil and gas, and she was the keynote speaker. And she was talking about something that many of you probably have tapped into, and if you haven't, Google her. And it's the 5-second rule, right? She will, when she wakes up, to start to conquer that, to start to get your brain into that mode of blast off, she will start counting down. When her alarm goes off, she goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your brain, like there's a moment where your brain is actually connecting to the thought process of every time we hear a countdown, something's happening at the end of it. And a response is happening. Usually it's going to be a blast off. Usually it's a starting pistol. It's something that gets us adrenaline and energy going. So we have socially and subconsciously viewed the countdown as something as a starting point. It is a good moment for us. And when you wake up and you hit that alarm, don't hit snooze. Start counting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as soon as that one hits, you're going to have to put your foot on the floor. You're going to have to get going. Your body is ready and anxious. Then at that point, you've created a healthy anxiety to get moving. So wake up and get up. Practice that 5-second. Man, if you're laying in bed and an alarm goes off, start counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? Wake up and get up. Second thing that I'll say, wake up to a set routine. Many of you right now are saying, I'm really glad that he's going to be sending us out notes because I cannot read his handwriting. Wake up to a set routine. Rhythm right now is one of the most important things that we will gain as our world has been derailed. You've got to find a new rhythm. Your rhythm is off. I don't care what you think. Right now, 100% your rhythm is off. Even if it's a small twinge, your rhythm has been thrown because of the way we're now doing business a little bit differently than we've ever done it before. And so you have to get back into a rhythm. The way we get back into a rhythm is to really wake up to a set routine. I should, every single night, end my day by prepping my next morning. I should end my day by prepping my next morning. There should be a reset. My executive assistant and I practice this all the time. We are not 100% great at it yet, but every single day, she goes through and she grades our day on what we were able to accomplish and make sure that the things that we need to do to set as priorities are already set and ready to go. We don't put our brains into what we need to do next. You see, a lot of us, and I've written this before, a lot of us, we wake up and the starting line's way over there and we're still in the gym warming up. This is our opportunity to capitalize on when we start our day, we're starting. And nothing else can get into the distraction mode. If you are in a position now where you're working from home, more distractions have shown up. Way more distractions have shown up. The way you start to fight those distractions earlier without putting on all of your armor is to be able to wake up with a set routine. So now nothing distracts you because you don't have to get to the starting line. You're already waking up to the starting line. Half of your battle, truly half of your battle in getting started is actually knowing where to start. So if I reset my day every single day to a set routine, now every single step I take is purposeful and not preparational. Preparational H. Preparational. I think Brandy might have laughed at that even though I can't see her face. Everything that we're doing is intentional, okay? So number 2, wake up to a set routine and reset it every single day. The third thing I'm going to say is one of the most important. I don't know that it is the most important because there's some stacks into this, but I think it is one of the most important. You need to have a grateful journal. Right now, it's easier to do what we're doing because it's new. Compound what we're doing by the next 7 days, possibly 90 days. I don't know when this thing is going to shift or change. But the way that I keep my mind connected to moving forward is to write a grateful journal. I have a conversation with a gal all the time. She's somebody that I coach. And this is something that I've encouraged her to do at a high level because she has just a ton going on right now. So she was already in a pretty massive transition when this shift has become and it's shown up at her door. And so for her, one of the most important things that she can do and what she is doing is to get in here and start digging into this grateful journal. If you start every single day with gratitude, you are mentally checking into a healthy state of mind. When you start every single day with gratitude, you're checking into a healthy state of mind. I know this one sounds like a dust statement and we hear it all the time. At least I do. I hear it all the time from coaches. I will tell you, this is one of the most important things that you can do is to write a grateful journal. And don't just think like, oh, well, I am grateful. No, write it down. Man, write it down. There's something different and there's something magical. What I would encourage you to do if you want to take this to the next level, Write down what you're grateful for, and then write a grateful message to somebody and send it to them. It would be really brilliant if you could do this as a handwritten card. Right now, that's a really big deal, because here's what we start to do. We start to plant gratefulness out into the world. We start to actually plant that grateful mentality. And what's really neat is when it returns fruit. I was actually cleaning out a trash heap in my office, because now I'm back home in my office and I wanted to feel safe and secure. And so I was cleaning out a trash heap, and I found a card that somebody had written to me that was telling me how grateful they were to me. That card was received because I had sent them a card telling them how grateful I was for them. Grateful begets gratefulness, and it's reciprocating, and it's really kind of fun when you plant that seed. You're not expecting fruit necessarily to come from it, and all of a sudden it shows up at your doorstep. It's really awesome. Today I got a message from one of the girls that is in our office, and she just said, "Thank you for all the videos that you're doing. It means a lot, and it's helping me out at the time." It's like I wasn't expecting that. I'm truly doing this from a state of just giving back into the world. And so I would highly encourage you, do this. If you don't do any of them, if you don't do any of this, do this. Gratefulness is really, really, really important, and especially in the times right now of uncertainty. People need to see and hear that positiveness. To be able to feed that back out, we got to feed ourselves. And so create that grateful journal, okay? The fourth thing that I'm going to say is a little bit contrary to what everybody else will start to kind of put out there in the world. However, I believe in this at a high level, is to actually practice breathing. Deep breaths are an automatic reset in our life. I'm going to say it again. Deep breaths are an automatic reset in our lives. And so we've got to be able to practice breathing. If you have an Apple Watch, you already know that that thing is clicking or can click at you all the time to tell you to breathe. Start following it. Start doing it. If you got a Fitbit or something and it tells you to breathe, guys, listen to it. If you need an alarm just to set, we've got to get into this practice of breathing. And I know that this sounds like a little bit hoorah, a little bit too feel good, a little bit too much into the weird chasm of like, why was this a skill set that I need? And here's the reason why. All day long, whether you realize it or not, your stress levels have heightened. Everybody's stress levels have heightened to an extent. Some of you are like, oh no, I realize it because the world is going to burn and I'm carrying the matches. Our stress levels have increased more than you realize. And the way that we begin to biologically help that stress level decrease, one of the most simplest things that we can do is to practice breathing and to practice deep breaths. So I'm going to tell you, I know this sounds incredibly simple and overly simplified, but practice breathing. I wonder how many of you took a deep breath just by watching me take a deep breath, and already you feel just a sense of like, okay, all right. Practice breathing. Take a deep breath. Take a pause, whatever it makes it, whatever you need to do. Practice breathing, okay? You got to take those deep breaths. You got to hit the pause button, especially when you see it starting to boil up. Go ahead and do that automatically. Just take a real deep breath. My 4-year-old practices this all the time. I started doing it with him when I saw his anxiety getting pretty high. As a 2- and 3-year-old, he got highly anxious in very random times, very random spots. And so we just practice deep breaths. And what's really awesome is that now I can watch him when he gets overly anxious. It's a clue to me to be able to jump in and to be ready to be on mode, because you can watch him. He'll just take a deep breath. But what's really awesome is when he looks at me and he goes, hey, will you just take a deep breath with me? And it's like, yes, I will. And it's just like a small little gift in my life. And so if this little 4-year-old can understand and see how it helps to calm his anxiety and his stress, then surely we can take a play out of that playbook and use that as an example in our life. And you've got to be able to breathe. Take those deep breaths. Practice your breathing, okay? All right, and then the last one here. Make healthy this and that choices. Sorry, this or that. So play this, not that. This one is just a super practical moment. All of us are at home and we're all starting bad habits, bad healthy habits. Many of us are picking up our phone and we're carrying it with us everywhere. Where we used to be able to come home and disconnect, now connection is at home. Do some healthy this, not that. Charge my phone in my office, not in my bedroom, so it has to be out of my hand. Drink more water than we are soda or tea or coffee. This, not that. Think about these things and practice some healthy this, not that moments. If I need to go do something, walk the long way around so that you just get a little bit more active movement. This, not that. Set up a standing desk so that at some point, or a standing platform, I'm literally using a platform. It's not a standing desk, it's a standing platform. So this standing platform, not that sitting at a chair all day long. Okay? So I know it sounds like there's some real simple ideas behind this, but practicing a few of these healthy this, not that moments are really, really important for our mindset. And here's the reason why. If we start to feel icky health-wise in any of the spaces, like let's say mental health, because we've been so connected, we don't know how to disconnect. When we're practicing healthy this, not that, if we keep moving into that moment, we are going to be overly anxious every time the phone rings if we haven't figured out how to disconnect from it. And now mentally, there's this moment of an unhealthy urge to be at the beck and call of everybody around us. And then where that's going to trickle is into our family life, okay? If I start to make some really unhealthy choices eating, it's going to start to show up in the way I look at myself and the way I view myself. And if we're going to be practicing a strong mindset and we wake up in the morning and we go, bleh, that bleh feeling is going to carry itself out forward, okay? This is why it really is important that we start to get into a good rhythm, kind of going back up here again, getting into a good rhythm so that then we have some of that normalcy feeling in everything that we do, even though our lives have been derailed just a little bit, okay? Practicing a real healthy this, not that. And I'm going to tell you, one of the most important ones is getting dressed, not staying in our pajamas all day long, okay? All right, so to recap, just kind of going through these ideas, and then I want to talk about this. Very first thing is to wake up and get up. It's not worth, or it's not enough just to wake up. You got to wake up and get your feet out of your bed. Don't stay sitting in your bed. Don't stay sitting there anticipating. Even if you wake up and start working on your phone, you just haven't mentally connected yet into your day. And so now you're using brain power that's already being washed away. So wake up and get up. Practice that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 out. That launching moment, just like Mel Robbins. And you can go check that video out. If you Googled Mel Robbins, it's probably going to be one of the first ones that pop up. All right. 2, wake up to a set routine. You got to be able to get a routine and a rhythm going in your world. So wake up to a set routine, because now you can mentally and subconsciously check back into the things that were normal triggers in your life, okay? And reset that every single day. Start at the starting line every single day. Don't start thinking about what am I going to do today. That you're still warming up in the gym while everybody else is lined up ready for the gunshot. Start every single day knowing what the next thing is going to be. Reset your day. Grateful journal. You've got to be writing this. Again, if you only take one thing from this, take that grateful journal. You've got to be writing down your gratitudes every single day. And then as a bump up for those of you who want to be overachievers, write gratitude letters to people and send it to them. And that can be a text, can be an email. Handwritten cards would probably be really important right now because it feels connection. The other thing I would say is make a video. Like, record yourself and blast it out to the person that you're thinking about. Just say, hey, just want to let you know I'm grateful for you for fill in the blank. Be a beautiful thing. I really would. All right. Practice breathing. Again, as simple as that sounds, deep breaths are a reset for stress. Deep breaths are a reset for stress. And so in your world, practice those deep breaths. Practice breathing. Your watch is even going to click on and tell you to breathe every once in a while. So just set that as a reminder and do it. If you don't have that, set a reminder somewhere, but you've got to be able to practice breathing. Again, we're going to take a cue from a 4-year-old, my little son, who every time he gets overly anxious, this is what he wants us to practice with him, is how to take a deep breath. And then again, that very last thing is to play this, not that. Play some healthy versions of this, not that. Which means put down the Coke, pick up some water. Put down the sitting in a chair all day long, go take a walk. Put down the phone going everywhere with you, charge it in your office. Play some healthy this, not that moment so that you can keep some sanity and some physical health in all of this. So, okay. So that was a quick run through of everything. I don't know how glitchy that was. Hopefully you've all been able to pick it up as best as you can. But I would love to hear, some of these may have rung a bell for you. Some of you may already be doing some of these skills. Like I want to make sure that like we put that out there. Some of you may already be using these as skill sets. Some of you may be doing something else that has helped you currently, and I'd love to even hear some of those. So let's hear some of your own victories, some of your ahas maybe from this, some of your questions maybe from this, but everybody, y'all are all welcome to go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'd love to hear what's going on in your world.
With me, getting up, you know, that's big for me. Whereas before on my days off and stuff, you know, what I'm used to here at home when I'm off, I would just get up or wake up, I'm sorry, and stay in my PJs till I'm ready to go somewhere. But now as soon as I wake up, I get out of bed, I have my alarm clock or my phone across the room to turn off my alarm clock. And then I literally get dressed, you know, sit and drink my coffee, do what I normally used to do, which is, you know, drinking my coffee and reading and stuff an hour before I'd go to work. That's what I do now before I get on, you know, our morning meeting and everything. And I feel more productive. I'm ready to do whatever. So that's big for me.
Yeah, it's big for me too. I literally, even though a majority of what I'm going to be doing is standing in front of the camera, even though I'm in front of the camera, like I could be wearing shorts and just kind of still relax. I'm legitimately every day. I'm not putting on shoes. I was putting on shoes for a little while. I'm not putting on shoes. That's the only thing I've changed. But I put on socks still.
Mm-hmm.
What else, guys? What are y'all doing? What's helping you guys stay connected? Any of these things ringing a bell for y'all? Do you practice with these already that shows up as free?
You're breaking up kind of bad, but I'll just say that I really like the grateful journal. It's not something that I do right now, but I really love that. And I love waking up with a positive mindset. I think that's amazing.
What else, guys?
I could talk all day on this, but
Yeah,
other people need to talk.
You're welcome. If there's something else you want to share.
Well, mine are the healthy choices. You know, it's hard. And you know what's funny is what helped me are these memes that people are putting out on Facebook. Like one that stays in my mind is the real chubby little baby with the rolls hanging everywhere. And he's sitting on the floor after I ate all my quarantine snacks in 1 hour. And so whenever I go to the refrigerator, I'm all like, I think of that baby and I'm like, I'm not hungry, get something to drink. So healthy choices.
So, you know, it's funny you say that. Like, so I'm a Waterloo guy. I'm going to tell you right now, I know my vices. I'm a snacker. I love snacking. It's good when I'm at the office because I don't bring snacks to the office. I try sometimes. I'm like, I need some snacks. But I don't bring snacks to the office. And so I literally bought 4 cakes and I would go to the refrigerator. I open up another, I've gone through a whole set of big boards already in like 4 days. Did you just say because you're really good here?
Timing on something. What I do to help me in the morning to get going is set my Alexa to start my day. So she'll give me my motivational at 4 in the morning and start my morning music.
Yeah, I love that. So she was breaking up a little bit. I don't know if me too. But one of the things you can do is to tell her to start your day. If you can go into the app and you can set a routine that starts, and you can have her like when you tell her to start your day, she could play a song and then move into the weather and then tell you your schedule and then read you your emails and then do certain, like you can connect certain things and she'll just do it in rapid succession. And then you can tell like, start my day. And then now here you are listening to everything that's going on. And like, gosh, if you've prepped it, now you're starting in a beautiful space. I love that. I haven't done that. She might be too loud in my household when I get up. If I told her to start my day, I might wake up the family. All right, guys, the floor is open and you're welcome to share. But if not, you don't have to. And we're certainly welcome to go ahead and let this be that, unless anybody else has anything they want to share.
Hey, Randy, what do you think about to-do lists?
To-do lists. So when I look at, gosh, okay, I'm actually going to talk on this first thing in the morning. So it's funny you say that. But when I look at to-do lists, we almost always, the path of least resistance ends up on our to-do list, because it feels good for the majority of us to be able to cross things off of our list. So one of the things that I talk about all the time, and I borrow this from The One Thing, the book written, The One Thing, Gary Keller and Jay Popson, is the difference between a to-do list and a success list. There's things that will make our day successful, and those are the things that we should concentrate on. It's that kind of that eat your frog first. So do the thing that's going to have the biggest impact first, and let those things be success list. And then at the end, you can check off a couple things from your to-do list as necessary, but like it really makes more sense to be able to have that success list in place more so than a to-do list. Crystal, I'm actually going to toss it back in your direction, because I know that you and I work a lot together and we have a ton of lists going all at the same time. And so we reset our day every single day. Like, do you want to share anything about that? How, like, our system for resetting our day? Not to put you on the spot.
No, so we use the Trello board. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. And that we automatically, I reset my day every day at the end of the day around 3 o'clock. I kind of go through the list of what is our priorities, what is, I guess, our success list, what we should be doing for us to succeed, what we're trying to achieve this month. And it is extremely helpful to reset and know what we are doing the next day. So that's been really helpful to us. I feel like we need to probably get a lot better at it. There are some things that we could improve on, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and I think the best thing that when I look at it from a standpoint is that you and I, what you said first, you and I look at our month. What is going to be the most successful activities for our month that will help us get where we want to go, that will move the needle towards the right direction? And those are the things that we are concentrating on. And so once we start to build our daily task, we're building it from a space of our goal setting, right? So we're not just picking the things that are the most important in general. We're picking the most things that are most important specifically for moving the gauge. And so even some things that could have some really high impact, until we align one or two things, we can't get there. So she and I look at that and say, well, we need to align these things so that this extra leap is possible, because we're going to jump and we're not going to land it unless we can arrange these couple of things. And so it really is good to be able to have just our own eyes, our own gauge on where we're going, so that every single day we wake up and go, okay, cool. So these are the things that we need to have done, so that by the end of the day, if we check off all of our boxes, regardless of what we were able to check off, if we were able to hit those 4 or 5 things, we're good. That was a successful day. And so our to-do list is not just peppered with like easy things to scratch off. It's actually peppered with the things that are most important, and then we drive our success list from those things. What else, guys? Karina, I don't know how, like, I know that you're balancing being home with the kiddos and everything, but I know you're tapped in. You're actually pretty good at getting your, like, gosh, talk about mindset and gratitude and all that stuff. So what are some of the things that you've done to be able to practice gratitude? Because, gosh, your world is like 500 directions all at the same time.
Right. Like if anybody noticed, I popped up and ran because second time now in the last few days was sitting here at the computer and looked out the window, and there was a horse staring at me, and not supposed to be. It's amazing, all of the craziness that's happening, guys. Time block, time block. That's number one.
Okay.
Put some boundaries in place and make sure that your fence is tied. That would be my third definite recommendation. But yeah, from a mindset perspective, you know, I think it's really important for all of us to stay connected. It has, honestly, it's really helped me over the last course of the week. I'm a pretty social bee, not from like I have to be in the middle of a party all the time. I just like to be in the know, right? And it's been on like information overload more than I can even take in. So prioritizing, like what Crystal and Randy were just talking about, even the information, and finding some ways that we can leverage with each other to streamline the most important information. And, you know, I've just been so grateful for how people have been showing up on all the different connection points. That really brings me energy, honestly, to engage and to plug in and to really hear how people are staying productive and tackling all of it. Like, I'm a learner, so I love all the cool ideas. I think the coolest idea I heard today, from even a mindset and gratitude standpoint, with all the, you know, the new environment we're all living in, especially those of us with kids. One of the gals from the Loken group taught her 10-year-old over the weekend how to time block, and then had her 10-year-old teach her little sister. And so this morning they all got up and the kids time blocked their own day, so that they could get their stuff done too. Now that a lot of, you know, everybody has their kids are homeschooling if they're school age, and, you know, that adds another kind of element. But like, how cool is that? The things that we can be modeling for our kids, for the next generation, by the way we're showing up. So that honestly is part of it, right? Is, you know, I have other people watching me, and how do I, at the end of all this, how do I want to look back and know I've shown up, right? And John VG actually even asked us that question today. I actually would love to share that on here, because we all wrote it down, and it was really powerful. And from a mindset standpoint, like, this is just so easy that everybody can do right now. Even if you've got a pen and paper to write this question down, which is this: when this is all over, because it will be, I know it's feeling crazy right now, it will be. When this is all over and you're looking back, how do you want to say that you showed up? And be really intentional. So then write that answer down. How do you want to be able to say that you showed up when this is over? Does anybody want to share?
When all this is over and you're looking back, how would you like to be able to say you showed up? Guys, my biggest thing that I keep talking about, Karina, and I'll prep it so that those who are a little bit more fearful about unmuting themselves can get the confidence. I would say it's about the giving economy, like everything. And I keep using that phrase. It's about the giving economy. I think what I would love to be able to look at, and if anybody goes like, well, who was Randy during all this? It's like, well, Randy was a source for almost everything, like the giving economy side of it. I would love for people to be able to associate me with that phrase somehow.
Cool. I love it. Who else?
I'll say I want to look back and say that I showed up as, say, like a beacon of light, like, you know, always encouraging people and letting them know that no matter what, we will get through this, and to be able to look back and say, see, I told you.
Awesome. All right. Make sure that you wrote that down, because there's part 3 here in just a second. Anybody else want to share? That's awesome.
I think for me, it's just about being helpful and reaching out and making everybody feel like we're still a community and we're still together and we're still connected. I am not huge on video, as y'all know, so this has been really great for me to just kind of be able to put myself out there a little bit more and, you know, test the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with. So I think it's good for everybody to also just be forced to get on the technology. So I think this has been a great thing. And I think Keller Williams is doing a great job at making everybody connected.
Oh, and you definitely have been helping people too. So that's awesome. All right. So guys, for everybody, even those that didn't share, look at what you wrote down as your statement or statements of when this is all over and you're looking back. How do you want to say that you showed up? And right before your answer, write these 4 words: in moments of choice, ... I, and then whatever you wrote as your statement. So for Brandy, I love yours. You are so, Crystal put in the chat, you already are, that she's a beacon of light and encouraging people, right? So when it's all over and we all look back, how do we want to say Brandy showed up? In moments of choice. Guys, there's power in that, right? Isn't that so empowering that right now we can set our intention for how during the next couple of weeks we're going to show up for our families, for each other, for our clients, for our community, for period, right? And I think, Randy, from a mindset standpoint, choosing that ahead of time, and then every time we're presented with a choice, then like we already have the answer. Here's how I'm going to show up for this. And for sure, all of, grateful, I think all of us certainly are so grateful for so many things. And there might be, a moment or two here and there where having that gratitude journal and having those things written down is a good reflection so that we can remember the gratitude when there's a down moment. But yeah, being intentional. I know, I love that he shared that with us, but I think, overall, I just know that I started in this industry in this really very similar circumstance, and how good the other side was for everybody that doubled down. And I've been so proud of our agents and of our Market Center leadership team. And, I have a lot of really amazing friends in the industry too that have just shown up caring about people. Randy, that's, you kind of said the caring economy, right? The giving economy. And man, guys, everybody who's leaning in that way, like I don't even know, I'm not usually speechless, sorry, but I just don't think that everybody knows how life will abound around you when this thing is over. And I don't mean that in like some flippant kind of a way. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take buckling down right now. But 100% with Randy, there is definitely a giving economy. We get by giving, that it's a known. And it's just, that keeps me really high-minded to stay around other people that are giving.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love this for VG. Send our love back to VG for this. This is awesome.
I will. Yeah, powerful.
All right, guys. Well, if there's nothing else to add, I'm okay with going ahead and letting that be our cutoff. Gosh, obviously, if you want to be able to connect in what we've got going on, we're all wide open for that. Crystal will make sure that she gets down everybody who was there. I'll get this graphic in your hand so that you can have a little bit of a reminder of the things that we talked about, and we can start putting things into action. That's one of the most important pieces to this puzzle. This isn't just a time to learn a lot. It's a time to put things into practice. So y'all be amazing, and we'll see you on the other side.